emergency fund. So I realized that a lot of people go into an investment and suddenly something happens, and then before you know it, they want to pull out of that investment. Sometimes it's land investment, sometimes it's stocks, it's shares, sometimes it's just mutual funds. But you go into an investment, if you do not have an emergency fund that you can touch when emergencies occur, then you're gonna want to dip into the investment. You probably will even want to be insulting those you invested with and seeing them as wicked people and all of that. Meanwhile, many of these investments that you're going into, you cannot pull out like that. Okay, you can't buy a share and then suddenly say you wake up, you want to sell the share, you need the money today. It doesn't work that way. Even if you tell your broker to help you sell the shares, it doesn't work overnight. And some other investment types, if you buy land now, you can't buy land and then say immediately, my mother is sick or my uncle is sick, I want to sell the land. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so in order not to look foolish where you are putting money into an investment and you are forced to pull your money out, make sure you have what we call an emergency fund. So the emergency fund is what you will use in the case of something happens, something unexpected happen. So if you have an emergency fund, can you type 1? If you don't have an emergency fund, can you type 2? Let me ask again. If you have an emergency fund, type 1. If you don't have an emergency fund, type 2. Again, my name is Stephen Akita. I'm Africa's most sought after investment coach. Today I'm teaching you on 6 things you need to know before you start investing. Okay, 6 things you need to know before you start investing. And please, as you're joining me, I'd like you to share this video. If you can share 100 times, 200 times, please share it. I've often realized that people don't appreciate information that will really change their lives. Okay, we Africans don't value this kind of information about financial empowerment, about turning our finances around. But we need to change that narrative. Okay, it's insulting when you hear, if you want to hide a thing from a black man, put it in a book. All these kind of statements are insulting. We need to become people who are conscious, who are ready for valuable information. Okay, and I think that is critical at this point of our life. So please share this video, share again. I'm sharing on 6 things you need to know before you invest in anything. So number 1, have what we call emergency fund. Emergency fund. Number 2, and this is very, very important, and I realize a lot of people are not even conscious of this. Avoid circumstances that can lead to fraud. Okay, scam artists read the headlines. 2, often they use a highly publicized news item to lure potential investors and make the opportunity sounds more legitimate. Okay, and this is very, very important that you understand that you need to avoid circumstances that can lead to scam. So many people who invested in MMM did not know that it was a scam, and it was amazing to me that they didn't know, because it was on Google. If you just Google, is MMM a scam, you will have read that the scam started in Russia, okay, and that it was a Ponzi scheme that failed in Russia and didn't work at all. There's so much information online about MMM, but yet people put in their money and some people even committed suicide. So avoid investment opportunities that may lead to fraud, because scammers too are very sensitive. They know what is in the news. They probably will put together some and say, look, so person is even doing it, these other people are doing it, come and put in your money. And then they lure you into an investment that is not real, and then your money is gone. It's just gone, totally gone. So you must be careful before you invest your money. Before you go into any form of investment, be careful, study, read hard, get certain information. It's very, very clear and very, very important. I remember at times some people were saying that is it UN or World Bank was giving people money to start their business, and there was a loan. you can get 10 million, you can get this. There are some verifications they are doing. Submit your Kinikon, you can start a microfinance bank. And there was so many information around this. Something was going on, something was cooking, and everybody should go into it. And you know, immediately somebody also told me, he said, look, you will get a lot of money if you go into this. They will give you, it's a free, almost like a free money. They are giving people in Nigeria. And immediately I went on Google, I typed it, and I realized that, World Bank had even disowned that project. CBN has disowned that project, that there's nothing like that they are not giving anybody money through any microfinance bank. But yet people were doing it, they were putting their money, and they were losing big time. So today we're looking at 6 things you must know before you put in your money into any form of investment. 6 things you want to know. So we looked at the first one, and we said the first one is that you need to have what we call an emergency fund. Okay, when you have an emergency fund, you will be able to pull out of that in the case of emergency. So suddenly you just need money quickly, and it's very urgent. You will just simply be able to do that. Am I good? Okay, thank you. So you'll be able to use that emergency fund in the situations where suddenly you just need money, and such always happen. So if you put all your money into an investment opportunity just because the opportunity was very good, in the case where you now have an emergency, the question will then be, where do you get the funds from? How do you handle that kind of emergency situation? And a lot of us sometimes we miss this part. We just hear that there's this investment opportunity, we put in all our money into it, everything into it, literally everything. Okay, nothing is being kept aside in case of something emergency happen, and then you now get situation whereby an emergency occur, then you want to be putting pressure on some of the investment opportunities you've taken advantage of, and it just makes you be in an uncomfortable situation. Now the investment opportunities you've done too, it puts them in a very bad, awkward situation. So, and I'll give you some example. I've had people who invested in our real estate. In fact, I'm having to say we have to change our real estate policy to that we don't do refunds again, because you have situations where people invest. It may just even be that they invest this same week, and before you know it, they tell you they're not doing it again. And it's funny because you begin to ask yourself, do people think that such investment, such money are kept in the bank? When you're into investment, whether it's real estate or whatever it is, usually the funds are being used. The funds are being used for something. So if it's a real estate investment, the money is not kept in the bank. So the company you're investing with is obviously buying more land, doing things with the land, okay? With the money rather. So you can't just go to them and just say, you know what, I just need my money back. This emergency happened. I hear things like that, my mom died, these health issues, that health issues. And they don't understand that a lot of time people don't get the fact that you don't keep the money, or investment companies don't keep money. If you buy shares too, the same thing. Even before your broker will be able to help you sell the shares, it will take a while. So have what we call an emergency money. So this emergency money becomes what you can use in the case where you need money urgently, you need money desperately, you just go ahead and use the emergency money. Now, so have what we call emergency money. Number 2, avoid, fraud. Okay, avoid circumstances that lead to fraud. And I shared how a lot of people invested in MMM and they didn't know MMM was a fraud. And all you needed to have done, in fact, I remember saying to somebody, is this the way, some of us can be this gullible? Because if you had just Google MMM as at that time, you will read the history of MMM. You will read the fact that MMM started in Russia. You read the fact that a lot of people committed suicide when MMM went bad in Russia. And all of that. The informations are out there. But people just do not want to read. Right? So they kept saying that, no, this particular MMM will work, and were having ridiculous hopes that just didn't make sense, and people got their hands burned. So avoid circumstances that, investment, that really look fishy, that may end up becoming really fraud. Okay, avoid that. Okay, and I've shared also several other experiences I've had too, where people just say, oh, there's this opportunity, oh, they are just giving, no matter the name they give it, right? Sometimes people even tell you it's an association with World Bank, it's an association partnership with World Bank, it's partnership with UN, partnership with this. That's not the case here. Okay, once the whole thing is not sounding okay, do more research. Okay, and be sure that this is real, right? Number 3, okay, overcome greed before you go into investment. Overcome greed. And what do we mean by overcome greed? Now, if it's too good, right, then to be true, then actually it's too good to be true. Now, let me say that again. If it's too good to be true, then it's really too good to be true. For example, how can a company tell you they're going to be giving you, 30% every month? It means that that company must have been making 360% every month, okay, every year. Now, that's not possible. Even the Dangote group of companies does not grow at the rate of 360% annually. Okay, it doesn't work that way. And what I mean by that is that because there's overhead cost, because there are lots of overhead and bills that companies have to pay, even if they make such a profit, they can't give you everything. So if a company is saying that we're doing whatever, I don't care what they tell you they're doing, even if it's gold they're mining, because of their overhead cost, right, there's no way they can be giving you 360% annually. It doesn't make sense. It's ludicrous. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why people do this. Before you become an investor, overcome your greed. Overcome it. And greed can be overcome. All right? And please share this video, tag your friends, tag your loved one, let people come in here. People need to hear this, because the topic I'm treating today is what has made people to commit suicide, right? Because they don't know these 6 things I'm teaching. And so they go into bad investments, and then they lose all their money, and they're really, 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 really in deep trouble. Okay, real deep trouble. Please share this video. Let's get people here. And as you're joining us, tell us your name and your city. Your name and your city. For some of you who want to get my book, you can visit www.stephenakitayo.com/book bundle. We're doing a massive promo. Crazy. Over 10 books given for peanuts. So go there, www.stephenakitayo.com/book bundle. My name is Stephen Akitayo. I'm Africa's most sought after investment coach, and I'm sharing with you 6 things to know before you invest in 2019. Don't just carry your money and then put into any form of investment. Get this knowledge. Overcome greed before you go into investment. Let me share with you one of the strategies to overcome greed. One of it is start giving. Practice, consistent giving. So tomorrow, we're going to Ajegunle. We're going to be feeding 500 to 1,000 children in Ajegunle. The place is called Dustbin Estate. It's an estate where people literally live. They live on a refuse. Yes, you're going to watch it. I'm going to stream the whole event live. God willing, tomorrow we're going to stream it live. Okay? Yes, people live on the refuse. You heard me. Some of you won't believe it. They live on the refuse. And so we want to visit them. We want to feed as many people as we can feed. We want to profile some of them that we can send to school this year. And so one of the ways to overcome greed is to practice consistent giving. So overcome greed. If you do not overcome greed, you will lose money. And you will claim that, oh, you are trying to invest, you're trying to make more money. But you will take actions that will make you lose everything and put you into trouble. So if it sounds too good, then it's just too good to be true. Okay, there are certain kind of returns people say they're going to give you in an investment that doesn't make sense. Whether it's shares, whether it's mutual funds, whether it's bonds, whatever it is, there are certain kind of interest that does not make sense. Any form of investment that promises you more than 25% every year is a high risk investment. Now, I'm not even saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, don't be greedy enough to put all your money into high risk investment. Why do that? And why do people do that? You know this investment is promising to give you so much returns. Okay? That the return it says it will give you is very high. So why put all your money? Now, why? Why put all your eggs in one basket? You know that, I mean, I don't know how we find a way to convince ourselves that we should just do it. Sometimes you even say your brother said he collected the money. Yes, that he got the money does not guarantee that you will get your own. That you saw your uncle getting it does not mean you will get your own. Once an investment is very high, the returns, I'm not even saying don't do it. Don't just put all your money there. Okay, so don't be greedy. Overcome greed. Overcome greed. Okay, and one of the ways to overcome greed, start practicing consistent giving. Practice, it helps you, because suddenly it begins to make you know why God is blessing you, why you're trying to build wealth, the real purpose of trying to make money. It begins to get close to you, so that you don't just, because there's a thin line. If you're not careful, you just lose the whole reason why you want to be rich. You just lose that reason, and if you're not careful, you just mess it up big time. I remember an experience I had one time where, and it's good to, it's not even, I had to say to my kids, I'm going to be taking you out for all my charity events. You know, I have to start taking you out, because you need to begin to see things. Because sometimes children begin to ask you, Daddy, my neighbor had 2 bicycles. Why am I just having 1? Okay, Daddy, can't you get more food? Daddy, this. And before you know it, you don't know that your children are getting so, how do I put it now? And this thing I'm talking to you about leads to depression. It can easily lead to depression. Where when greed comes in, greed, because that's why they say money does not lead to happiness, right? Money doesn't lead to happiness. Because sometimes when you allow greed to enter you, you will never be able to have enough. So every day you're complaining, you want more, you want more, you want more. That's the same thing that happened to politicians who just keep stealing, looting the treasury, looting the treasury, looting the treasury every day. They keep looting the treasury and never get better. And when you see some of them, 10 years down the line, they've lost everything they looted. Because they never got, wealth is here. It's not in your account. It's not in your bank account. So avoid greed. And one of the ways to do that is give. So I'm working with my children to always follow me to charity projects so that you can see how their father is giving, and we also see people who are worse off than they are, see people who are, in deep problem than they are, and begin to appreciate life and begin to understand that God is faithful and be grateful for that which they have. And I think this is very, very important. Okay. I believe strongly in what I'm teaching you guys. And like I said, I believe strongly. Number 4, okay, consider an appropriate mix of investment. So I also realize that sometimes we make this mistake where all our investment are just one single type of investment, right? So some of us who like to buy shares, everything is in shares. Some of us who like bonds, everything is in bonds. Some of us who like mutual funds, everything is in mutual funds. Okay, some of us who like real estate, everything is in real estate. Sometimes you may want to diversify. Try to make sure that you have, appropriate mix of investments. Okay, some part of your investment goes into real estate. Some other part of your investment can go into bonds. Some other part of your investment can go into mutual funds, and so on and so forth. But have a balanced mix. Okay, I have Bukola here. Thank you for joining. Please tell me your name and the city you're joining me from. And as you're joining, share this video. Get more people to watch this video. We're sharing 6 things you need to know before you invest in 2019. So we're number 4. Consider an appropriate mix of investment. Number 5, and I think this is very, very important. Evaluate your comfort zone in taking risk. Okay? Evaluate your comfort zone on taking risk. And I think this is very important. All investment involves some degree of risk. If you intend to purchase securities, such as stocks and bonds or mutual funds, it's important that you understand before you invest that you could lose some or all your money. Unlike deposit, maybe you are doing some insured bank deposit and all of that, you need to know you can lose some or all your money when it comes to buying shares. Please get this right, because we've had people, even in the US, who committed suicide over this, we're investing in shares thing. Okay, some even go and believe that it's the MD of the company that has problem and want to do whatever they could do. But you need to get this here. They evaluate your comfort zone on taking risk. Okay, let an expert talk to you. Let an expert work with you. Okay, and really walk you around the concept of risk management, the concept of what is a risk. Bimbo Akintola from England. Bimpe Akintola from England. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And please share this video. Let's get a lot of people in here. Keep sharing this video and let's get to a lot of people. So evaluate your comfort zone, in taking risk. And I think this is very, very important. Everything when it comes to investment is risky. It's very, very risky. Let nobody deceive you. There is some degree of risk in every investment. Now, does that mean you shouldn't invest? You should invest, of course. Remember, there are 4 ways to make money. You can make money as an employee, you can make money as a self-employed, you can make money as a business owner, and you can make money as an investor. Now, the business owner part and the investor part, only 5% of people in the world do this, and they control 95% of all the money in the world. So the only way you can make money while you are sleeping is to be an investor. Osaro from Benin, thank you for joining. That's the only way. The only way you can make money while you're sleeping is to be an investor. That's the only way, right? And one of them, so investment is critical. We call it, another word for investment means that you make your money work for you. So you can rest, you can sleep, you can relax. Your money is just working for you. Your money is just working for you. And all the richest people in the world are not people who work for money. They are people that money work for them. Warren Buffett said, if you don't have a way of making money while you're sleeping, you will have to work till you die. So it's critical that you get it, really sink in that you must be an investor. If there's one thing you must do this year, you must become an investor if you're not one. Now, if you're already an investor, you must become a wiser investor, a smarter investor in 2019, smarter than you were in 2018. But get this well. Evaluate your comfort zone on taking risk, right? There is always a risk involved. And don't just get it all twisted, just being so comfortable, just putting all the money out there without spreading this thing properly, without understanding the risk involved, right? And doing things properly. And that's why we always say, get a financial advisor, get a consultant, get somebody to advise you. Even me that I'm talking to you, I'm advising you when, this advice does not constitute a professional advice. It's just an advice on social media. If you really want me to be your coach, there are deeper conversations we need to make. So you cannot, and I need to tell you this disclaimer, you cannot quote me anywhere and say, I watched the video and I went to take certain risk based on the video. You and I do not have any agreement. This is just, a normal advice as to some of the things you need to do, some of the decisions you need to do. You really want to take this to the next level, there's a deeper conversation we need to have. And this is very clear, very important. A lot of times when they talk about investment, you hear, consult, your financial advisor, do this. Do not just go into investment and just take risk anyhow. And then you say, well, I must take risk. I agree. Okay, it is risky not to take risks, but do it smartly. How? By reading books, by getting coaches, by getting experts involved in the decisions that you need to take. Okay, number 6, I believe. Okay, draw a personal financial roadmap. And I can overemphasize this because I've shared this in several of the sessions I've had. Draw a financial roadmap. So, and I'll give you an example. Somebody one time chatted me up and said, Mr. Stephen, I have 100 million naira, and can I do with 100 million naira such that in 3 months I can double it? And I said to him, go buy a gun, okay, and go rob a bank. Now, some of you think my advice was sarcastic, Abi. No, don't mind me, I can be sarcastic at times. But it was just a ridiculous question. Okay? It was just a ridiculous question. It didn't make any sense. Right? And I see a lot of us do that. Right? Maybe because we're under some financial pressure, we've mismanaged some money, and now we're trying to get back. And sometimes if you're not careful, you now get deep yourself inside a deeper hole. You even find yourself inside a bigger mess than you were before now. Because you're so rushing to want to come out, At the end of the day, you're finding yourself into some very, very, deep stuff. So I always advise people, and it's my own personal advice, that look, if you want to be an investor, you want to do some of these things, try and, be smart enough to make sure that you have a roadmap. A roadmap that is very clear, a roadmap that is not trying to make you rich overnight, a roadmap that is, scientific, a roadmap, I call it SMART goal, specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, and time-bound. A roadmap that is systemic, a roadmap that includes what we call compound interest, where even though the beginning is small, remember, do not despise the day of little beginning. Your latter end, you are planning to be a lot bigger and greater and massive. So that's the kind of concept you bring into this kind of business, right? Into investment. Draw a clear-cut financial roadmap. How many of you have a financial roadmap? If you do, type 1. If you don't, type 2. Because you need to have one. Okay? A financial roadmap. If you do, type 1. If you don't, type 2. You need to have one. Financial roadmap. Clear-cut roadmap. Clear-cut plan and strategy to move from where you are to where you want to be. Clear-cut, with advice from, great consultants. Sometimes you may make it could be, you could mind map it. Okay, so I'm going to start with real estate. So I'm going to buy stocks here. I'm going to do mutual funds here. I'm going to do bonds here. And then, I'm going to then get, to expand. I'm going to start with this X amount. Then later grow it every 2-3 months or grow it every 6 months. But something very concrete, very clear cut, easy to follow, nothing complex, and you want to follow through. So if you have a financial, personal, right, financial roadmap, type 1. If you don't, type 2. There is a goal, right? This is not goal. So let me give you an example. I have a goal of raising, making 15 billion in all of our businesses. That's a goal. That's not a roadmap. After getting that goal, you now still have to break it down. You still now have to put together, like, your roadmap is like what we call the methodology. It's not the how. The goal is the where you're going, right? The roadmap is like how you want to get there. The strategies, the steps you want to take, the decisions you have to take. And I'll give you an example of one of my spiritual mentor took years ago. So because of some of the dreams he had that year, he called his children and said, children, from today, no more milk in this house. Anybody want to take milk in this house, squeeze your breast and drink your own milk. Right? From today, secondly, no more egg in this house. Anybody want to eat egg in this house need to lay one. It was part of the financial roadmap for that year, because he realized that what was going into buying milk and buying egg was a lot. And if he really wants to achieve the goal he had, right, he can't continue to be spending that much on milk and egg. And he has to stop everybody in their family, from the children to the wife to everybody. Okay? But this same person I'm talking to you now has 2 private jets. Okay? Has, estates, one of the most successful people in the world. Yeah, in fact, the richest person in the world in his own field. But years ago, he had to tell the children, no more milk, no more egg. So in your roadmap, some of those kind of things may be there. Some of you may have to have in your roadmap, you may have to include under the prudency part. You may have to include the fact that I will only shop once in 2019, right? Some steps have to be taken. Serious steps have to be taken. You cannot continue to spend money the way you were spending money when you were not an investor. The same way you're now spending money now that you're an investor. I give you another strategy. Even me, I'm trying to work on that too for this year. What are the things I can cut? One of the strategies that a friend of mine, similar to the earlier story, is a story a friend of mine was sharing. So he was building his house, 6-bedroom duplex in Abeokuta, but he used to buy block for 200 naira per block. But every week they buy a carton of Maltina. He just loved Maltina. A guest come, do you care for Maltina? He was just this Maltina guy, and that was him. But one day he started meditating. So he realized that he spends a whole crate of Maltina and a single bottle of Maltina was then that time 200 naira. So you have maybe 24. And he dawned on him one day that is 24 blocks. 24 blocks going every week. So he did a calculation in a month how many blocks was going. In a year, he had to say, yeah. So he called the wife and said, from today, no more Maltina. Some of you who are from Nigeria or Africa, you know Maltina. It's a particular, we call it a beverage drink now, non-alcoholic. All right. So he had to say, from today, no more Maltina. Right? Maltina then was like 50 cents. Maybe like 60 cents in the current value. But he realized that a single block was going for that 60 cents. And that is 24 blocks. And he was still building his house. And that, according to him, stopping Maltina helped to speed up the pace of him building his house. You see what we're talking about here? Just speed everything up. Speed it up. So, guys and ladies and gentlemen, I really want to encourage you guys that there is a lot of work that has to go into your roadmap. For those of you who have one, then you've seen some other strategies you have to put in place. You must, in your roadmap, one of the critical components, I'm not going to, because today is not, maybe tomorrow I may take this topic, developing your financial roadmap. But one of the components that was being your financial roadmap is the prudency part, okay? And so under the prudency part, you want to say, what do I need to cut, okay, to be able to pay for my deficit in 2019? What do I need to cut? What are some of the bills I need to let go? Cut them. And then what are some of the things I need to buy? What are some of the things I need to invest in heavily? Because sometimes we make this mistake where we think it's all about cutting. It's not just about cutting. You have to cut and put money in some things. The reason for wealth is to give back. The reason you pray to God for money is to be able to help people. But you need to know, God will never give you some money if you have not proved him right. How do you prove God that you're worthy for the kind of wealth you desire in 2019? It's by giving the little you have. People always tell me, Mr. Stephen, you can give, you're a rich man. I laugh. I'm not. My company is rich. I'm not a rich man yet. I'm on my way. I have lots of bills. So we assume that giving is a job of rich people. It's a job of everybody. We all need to build a culture of giving. Everybody needs to do that. Okay? It's not, an African needs to wake up. We need to be givers. We need to build giving culture in Africa. Okay? We need to. Please. We can do this. We can become givers. We can do better than we're doing. It's the job of all of us. And that's why God will bless you. When he sees that your heart wants to give, when he sees that your heart desires to change the world, when God sees that your heart wants to make a difference, he will give you money. He will bless you. Okay? But when you're saying that, my salary is just 15,000. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,500 naira will do a lot of good to children in Dustbin Estate. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. And one of the things giving does, he makes you grateful. Because suddenly you begin to see that God has been good to you. You may not be where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. You may not have everything, but you have some things. And it just brings in this gratitude heart. Because greed must be overcome. And how do you overcome greed? By giving. By giving. Because the more you give, the more you see that so many of these people you are having to give to are in a real worse situation than yours. And it just gives you a better perspective. And once you get that picture, wealth begins to come your way. Money begins to look for you. Really. Let me tell you when I give. I give when I'm broke. That's when I give. I tell people, I say, those who need to give are those who are broke. Those who are poor. Giving is not meant for the rich. It's meant for the poor. Because he that sow reapeth. Okay? It says, as long as the earth remains, the time of sowing and the time of harvest will not change. Okay? Sowing and reaping will never change. It's a law. It's a law. Okay? It's a law. So it's unfortunate that a lot of us desire wealth. We want to be rich. But one of the things that should be in your heart is, Lord, who must I give to? Who must I change their story? Who can you use me to bless? Because God will only give you wealth when there are people you are going to use it to distribute to. Wealth is not meant for you. It's meant for distribution. God only gives you wealth for the purpose of redistributing it. Okay? And that's really the purpose of wealth. Because